So back in the day, when I started this channel about 6 years ago, Marvel used to do this thing, and they've been doing it for a while. They called it marketing, where they would take series that they wanted to claim were successful but weren't performing well, and they would overship them. And sometimes they would do a 1-for-1 overship, as in every copy that was actually ordered, you got 2 copies. And then they did like a 50% overship to where every 2 copies you ordered, you got an extra one, something like that. And it was always on certain titles. It was always on like Captain Marvel or Miss Marvel, or characters that Marvel Comics wanted to claim were popular but weren't actually performing, and also to kind of mess up and manipulate the market share and make it look like Marvel were doing far better than they actually were. But they've basically given up this practice. They haven't done it in actually years at this point. I think it might be like 5 years, maybe not quite 5 years, but it's been a long time. And certainly, since Diamond isn't the sole distributor and the company that puts out order numbers so everyone knows how comic books are performing, there's not a lot of incentive for Marvel to actually continue that practice. They have been doing it until we got to Marvel X-Men From the Ashes, and now we're shockingly getting back into the age of overships. I had someone send me an email recently. I even had somebody reach out to me and be like, hey, there were 25 issues of Phoenix left in my comic book shop on Sunday. Do you think that's a bad side? Well, I think I know why they were 25 instead of 20, because they got some extra copies of it. Both Phoenix #1 and NYX #1 launches will see retailers get a bunch of free copies, with every store getting at least 5 or 6 copies of each in a bundle. This may be an attempt to get numbers of copies in stores higher for any spillover orders that the main X-Men books generate that stores haven't anticipated, which may lead to future increased orders for these books. That is at least the plan, according to Rich Johnston and Bleedy Cole, and I guess kudos to them for even covering this. But here's what actually happened. I don't know if anyone's understood this, because people are still acting like second printings are a big deal. Marvel and DC exclusively print to order. They print out whatever their order is going to be, or whatever they anticipate their order is going to be. And I imagine their anticipation for Phoenix and NYX wasn't all that high. Certainly not as high as X-Men or Uncanny X-Men or any of that stuff. And it's clear that the orders themselves vastly underperformed the way Marvel thought it would. And instead of having to pay like the warehousing fees or whatever, they just gave them away because there would be no reorders because the books aren't going to be popular, and basically ate the cost on that one and consider it marketing, hoping that maybe they will be able to increase orders on that. Unfortunately for Phoenix especially, the only discussion going around that book is the controversy regarding the art swiping going on by Alessandro Miracolo. The book is perfectly average writing, but the art is the controversy. No one's really talking about that. NYX comes out this week. I've actually gotten a sneak peek of it, and they're going to need to give a lot of this away for anyone to actually read it. It's not a very good book. If you were taking a wait and see approach, because you're a little skeptical, that was the right idea. I hope you didn't order it. I hope you didn't put on your pull list and have to buy this damn thing, because it is a very, very poorly written comic book, as you would expect. And even the art, which you would kind of hope might be the saving grace of the book, is not that. It's not very good whatsoever. And now, of course, they are giving the comic books away for free rather than just eating the storage space, knowing that they'll get that second round of orders coming in, which they certainly did with X-Men #1 and some other books recently. So there's not going to be a second print for Phoenix and NYX anytime soon because they had to give them away. There's not really any interest in there, and Marvel basically misread the market, which I've already told them that they did. You went out there with too many titles, too many bad creators, too many of the same creators that have already failed, and now you have maybe 3 or 4 titles that can sustain themselves and a bunch of crap like Phoenix and NYX, and perhaps even Exceptional X-Men, the third pillar of Marvel's new X-Men initiative, which is supposed to be a flagship-like title. And I do believe they're going to have to overship this one as well. Marvel Comics have given fans a first look at the all-new characters, which will make their debut later this year in Exceptional X-Men. The teasers show 3 members of Kitty Pryde's new team revealing their new names and some of their powers. Exceptional X-Men is one of Marvel's new X-Men related series kicking off in the new From the Ashes era that picks up after the fall of Krakoa left the world of mutants reeling. Kitty's new team includes mutants Exo, Bronze, and Melee. There was a time I thought Eve Ewing, I didn't think she would be an A-lister or anything like that, would be a serviceable hand at Marvel Comics. I think that time has passed, and we've already seen the preview pages for Exceptional X-Men. Doc and I had a hoot talking about that one because it looks so bad. And now we get the follow-up of all these awesome new characters that Marvel are going to have to give away for free because people are not going to be interested in it. And they haven't killed the line. I assume X-Men will be successful. I assume Uncanny X-Men will be successful. I assume Wolverine will be successful based just on the names alone. But From the Ashes is already off to an auspicious start, especially with the controversy surrounding Phoenix. And then, like I said, I've seen NYX, and Doc and I are definitely going to review it for Worst of the Week this week. And I don't like subjecting myself or him to Jackson Lanzig and Colin Kelly, but this book is undeniably bad, and we definitely have to take a look at it. Now let's look at some of these characters that you're supposed to buy all in for. They're going to make Exceptional X-Men number 1 and 2. Can't miss speculator fodder because it's got first appearances of characters. We'll see Bronze, I believe, in issue number 1, and then Axo and Melee in issue number 2. And that book, in 25 years, might go up in value to $5.28. So it's going to be well worth the $4.99 you invested in it, and probably the 25 minutes it takes you to grind your way through the book because it's so poorly written and features so many characters you don't care about. Bronze, real name Trista Marshall. Trista is dealing with the hardships of being a mutant in a post-Krakoa world until she runs into Kate Pride, who takes the young mutant under her wing. Kate is the perfect mentor for Bronze, who can turn her skin to an unknown metallic substance nearly as durable as adamantium and turn this metal into dangerous whip-like weapons. Are we certain that Kitty Pryde would be the perfect mentor for this character when you have Colossus out there who has a very similar power set? Is Omega Red not available to be her mentor? It sounds like he would be a better choice than Kitty Pryde, who is herself intangible. Let's read this power card, the Cerebro Scan. Bronze transforms her skin into an unknown metal that's nearly as strong as adamantium. Once her skin is hardened, she's also able to extend retractable whip-thin cables from her body. Just as the hardships of being a mutant begin to dim her sparkle, she befriends Kitty Pryde, who inspires Trista to unleash her mutant pride. If that doesn't sell you on Bronze as a character, I don't know what will. Well, certainly not the previews that they put out in that stupid From the Ashes preview book, where we see that Trista has an anger issue, goes ballistic, and tries to murder a guy for not letting into a concert. Not that he was being the nicest person in the world, but that was apparently motivation enough to actually whip out the old cables and start murdering people, or at least attempting to do it. I don't know why they haven't mentioned that this character is trans. If Bronze is not trans, and we've seen the interior art so far, I would say the artist that came up with the concept and the look of the character got it 100% wrong, because the way the character stands and looks, it's clearly a trans female character, but they haven't mentioned that yet. And I don't believe that Bronze is going to be the big standout character that's going to be bringing in all the masses of new readers in. I believe Bronze will be just another anchor weighing down the X-Men franchise for a year to come. But that's the big character. They'll be giving her away soon enough, just like NYX and certainly Phoenix already. And the Mutant Pride quote there at the end of the card, I thought that was like the calling card of NYX. NYX was the Mutant Pride book. Are they all the Mutant Pride books? Perhaps being a mutant is just an allegory for Pride Month now. It already felt like that way during the Krakoan era. Perhaps Marvel are just going to go full steam ahead with that analogy and really shaping and changing what the X-Men truly stand for and have for decades at this point. Next up, Axo, real name Alex Luna, has the power of emotion detection and manipulation, and his flesh acts as a mood ring, changing colors to match the emotional auras of those around him. Apparently, Alex's emotional-based powers are beginning to evolve in ways he doesn't understand, prompting him to reach out to Kate and Emma, even though he prefers his own company over others. So I guess he's going to be the Logan of the team. Let's read this Cerebro Scan. This is going to be really, really amazing and exciting. In addition to detecting and intensifying the emotions of others, Axo's skin changes color to reflect the mood of those around him. Due to the nature of his abilities, Alex prefers to be alone, but he is willing to give the X-Men a shot if it means learning to control his powers, especially as they begin to develop in surprising ways. I don't know about you, but this character sounds a whole lot like Empath to me, which is a terrible character. And the one thing I loved about Hellions was that character getting murdered over and over again because he's such a little dickweed. But with the added benefit of this character also being a mood ring. You remember mood rings? I remember mood rings because I grew up during, I was born in the late 70s, grew up in the 80s, and mood rings were a cool thing. So were like roach clips. You put them in your hair and you wear them like, like a hair tassel or something like that. And then you put your mood ring on, and depending on your mood, it would change colors. And that's what Axo is going to be. Maybe the idea that this would be a really cool visual, having what appears to be a vampire, but his skin changes color depending on how people around him feel. But I don't think it's going to work out that well. It just sounds stupid. And it's basically another character already. We already have Empath, and he's proven to be a dick. Maybe this will be nice guy Empath, but who also wants his own pack, just like Logan, because he doesn't like feeling the emotions of others. Who knows? The walking mood ring. It's like my favorite character. Oh, it's because it's just so stupid. It definitely belonged in New Warriors from Daniel Kibblesmith. This is one of those ideas. Finally, there is Melee, real name Tao Tran, who has the powerful defensive ability of intangibility and invincibility. Covers featuring Tao reveal she is incredibly buff, hence the name Melee, which could be because she feels insecure about her mutant power. Let's check out that old Cerebro scan. A combination of invincibility and intangibility makes Melee virtually untouchable. Vocal about mutant rights and not one to back down from a fight, she's frustrated by a passive power set that prevents her from punching through her problems and hopes Kitty can help her master her stealth-based talents. Well, at least this one kind of makes sense for Kitty to be the mentor because she literally has the exact same power set with a little touch of invisibility thrown on top. But it's also quite redundant. You literally already have a character that has intangibility. So now we got two intangible characters. But the big thing is how Kitty's always kind of tiny. She was introduced when she was like 13 or whatever. She's always been like the smaller one. This one's going to be big and buff. And she's going to be so frustrated. I wanted to punch that bigot in the face. But my power of intangibility won't allow me to. And then when I did punch him in the face, I was invisible. And I didn't even get the credit for punching that dirty, rotten bigot. It's going to be the character. And then the character, I guess, in a kind of meta commentary is going to be some type of activist within an activist writing an activist comic book. Does that sound exciting to you? It doesn't sound exciting to me. And I do believe that's why they'll be giving this thing away. That they won't be able to give enough of it away. And I feel so bad for the shops that they send this shit to that no one ordered. And they probably over-ordered already. It sounds like they did, at least with Phoenix. And after seeing NYX, I imagine less people will be interested in that book. And then what I've seen from Exceptional X-Men, it's supposed to be a flagship book. Maybe they order higher on that one. Fuck, I'm going to be stuck with these extra 15 copies of Phoenix that I can't sell. And you're like, shit, it's 20 now. What am I going to do with these? Am I going to burn them? Am I going to leave them in the store and waste, space and resources? There's only so much shelf space and storage space, and you have to pay electricity for that storage space and all that stuff. And you're going to have the same, I guess, predicament when it comes to Exceptional X-Men and certainly NYX. But they're giving it away already, people. What is it that a lot of moms used to say to girls, at least when I was a kid? Don't give away the milk for free because nobody's going to want to buy the cow, or whatever that was. The analogy where your virtue was a cow or something. That was a good analogy. I think that one really still holds true. I say that to Marvel. You can't give away the mutant pride for free or no one's going to want to pay for the agenda. What are you guys thinking? There's no way this is going to work, but they're back to giving things away for free. Not because they want to spruce up the numbers, because there are no numbers. The only reason they're doing this is because they are printing to order. They've been doing that for a few years now. And obviously they way overestimated what NYX and Phoenix were going to do. And I imagine they did the exact same thing or will do the exact same thing with Exceptional X-Men. And now they're having to just give them away for free, hoping that people who had no interest are just going to go take a sampler on that Phoenix book with swiped art from Olivia Coipel, Stuart Eminem, and others, or maybe that NYX book, which is one of the worst books I've seen in a long time. And this Exceptional X-Men book, where you can see the living embodiment of a human mood ring. It doesn't sell itself, folks. Let's put it that way. If you would like more conversations about this and the first access to the West and Doc review of NYX #1, as well as Exceptional X-Men #1, because we are going to hit both of these sons of bitches, you got to get over to Think Critical Patreon for the Doc Unfiltered podcast. It'll have that, as well as another review on it, as well as a Doc Q&A the next day. There's a link in the video description if you would like to support us on Patreon.